Hello, everyone. My name is William Mucker. I am a client executive with Camoplan, and I would like to thank you all for joining us for today's webinar, Actionable Title Insights Before You Make an Offer with Jess Barker of Title Search Direct. As a quick note, please be aware that Jess will be answering questions at the end of the presentation. However, feel free to use the chat and/or Q&A function on your screen to pose your questions whenever they cross your mind. They will be saved and addressed once the presentation portion ends and the Q&A portion begins. Before we get started, we do have a brief disclosure to go through. Everything presented in today's webinar is strictly for educational purposes. Camoplan is a neutral third-party administrator of IRAs. We are not attorneys, CPAs, or financial advisors. If it comes to a time where you need advice in any one of those fields, we highly recommend you consult with your team of professionals. We are more than happy to be a part of the dialogue with your team of professionals to make sure the investment process is quick and seamless. We do not sell any investments at Camoplan, nor do we endorse any products. We will never call you about the next best investment opportunity. We believe that you should always do your own due diligence before investing your money, whether it be your retirement funds or otherwise. Once you have found the investment that is right for you, we will help you open your account, fund that account, and facilitate the transaction into that investment. Here is my contact information if you or anyone that you know who you believe can benefit from the information have any questions about what is discussed in the presentation today and how it applies to self-direction. Please do not hesitate to contact me. I would be more than happy to help. And without further ado, I'll pass the controls over to you, Jess.
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'll share my screen here. Can everyone see that?
Not yet.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, here, wait a minute. Sorry about that. How about now?
Yep, perfect. And then you can just make it full screen if you can with the view slideshow button.
Okay, let's see. View slideshow. Got it. Thank you,
Looks
Will.
great. Of course.
Hi. Hi, my name is Jess Barker. I'm the founder of Title Search Direct. I founded the company about 30 years ago. We started in one county, and now we are a nationwide title search company. What we do is provide investors with actionable title insights before you make an offer on any U.S. residential address. So anywhere in the country that you're looking for, we can provide the information I'm about to describe. Well, the overview is, what is a title search? Well, a title search is a check of the land records for proof of ownership and encumbrances. Ownership is reflected in usually in deeds from one party to another, and encumbrances vary. Most often, one would see mortgages. We look for that, judgments, liens, any kind of encroachment on the property. And investors use our service as a pre-screening tool before they make an offer, because what it is, we provide these insights into ownership and encumbrances before you make an offer. The next slide is how long does it take to do a title search? Well, there are two different basic types. The first is a current owner search, which is something where you start the search in the land records from the point the individual or individuals first took title to the property and go forward for, you find the proof of ownership with their deed, and then you go forward looking for all the encumbrances. So a search like this usually takes 1 to 2 business days in metro areas and about 2 to 3 business days in rural areas. The second type of search, for those who want more detail, we have what is known as a full search. A full search, part of it is just, it's like a current owner search where we look at the current owner, but we also look at the prior owner, who the current owner got the property from, to see that there aren't problems there, that, the deed chain, the ownership chain looks correct from where they got it to where they gave it to the current owner. But also we search the prior owner for all encumbrances as well. And one additional thing for the full search is that the legislature in each state decides how far back you have to go for a full search, and their intent is related to if it was a purchase transaction, but it's also for due diligence purposes. For instance, in Illinois, they require 40 years back. Missouri, it's 45 years. California, 30 years. Whatever it is, the state requires we do that. And that usually takes 2 to 3 business days in metro areas and 3 to 5 business days in rural areas. And you might ask, how far back can you search? Well, we can go back as far as the county land records go, but purchase transactions usually require 30 to 60 years, depending on the state. The farthest back, 60 years for a purchase transaction. Although, if needed, we can go back farther. Um, the refinance transactions are more, or the what a current owner's for, but it's also for investor just getting an overview of the insights into the property as well. But we can go back farther, if you were to need that. Let's see. Well, why does a clear title matter to an investor? Well, to sum it up, it matters because it verifies who the owner is and what encumbrances are against it. So if you're looking at, one or more properties, you can use this as a pre-screening tool on whether or not you want to go further. Certain liens uh, aren't as bad as other liens. Like for instance, if you had a lot of federal tax liens on a property you were considering, you might want to discuss that with your attorney or other professionals to see if that's something you really want to do. Um, but again, it's helpful before you make an offer. What is involved in a title search? I think I went over this a little bit before, but again, we check the deed records, the county lands record recorder's office to prove who the owner is. And we check for mortgages, liens, judgments, easements, covenants, conditions, agreements, right of ways, other documents that might encumber the property. Pricing, we are different in that we sell directly to the investors as well as to the traditional middleman, which is a title insurance company or bank. So that's why we are able to offer wholesale prices to investors. The other thing that we offer is if you decide to purchase a property and you've done your pre-screening search and you decide to purchase it, I have a long-standing relationship with a closing agency that can close anywhere in the United States. And that's essentially the core of what we have to offer. It's a due diligence service. You get the actionable insights before you make an offer. Uh, on this page, it shows myself. And then on the right, Wendy Hayes, our operations manager, and we have 3 searchers. And then at the bottom of the page, I have my contact information. And at this point, I'm wondering if anybody has any questions.
Yeah. So, do you have experience with doing title searches when it's an IRA as a purchaser?
Where the IRA is a purchase, it happens occasionally. Um, the There are all sorts of potential buyers and sellers, but yes, that is one of them. There are other ones who are regular investors, and then, as I said, some of our clients are large title companies and banks who we do the work for as well. And did that
Great.
answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that changes from an investor's perspective as well as somebody who's searching on these titles, depending on the type of real estate they're looking to purchase it, whether it's residential, commercial, if it's a undeveloped plot of land, is there anything that changes for them?
Uh, by using us, you mean?
Just in general, or by using you, whatever you can touch on.
Okay, could you ask me that question one more time again, please?
Yeah, does when you're searching for a title, whether it's you're looking from an investor's perspective or from your perspective, is there anything that changes based off the type of real estate they're looking to purchase, whether it's residential, commercial, plots of land, anything that changes in that process?
Um, Not particularly. I mean, to begin with, we do search vacant land and residential, but we do not offer commercial title services. Um, we
Okay.
adapt to whatever uh, is available to us at the source itself. The county records. But no, it's not much changes. I mean, in terms of the current owner search, typically a bank would use that for a refinance, but typically an investor would use it as a pre-screening tool. The full search would be used by the lender for a purchase transaction, as well as an investor purchasing a property. If that makes sense.
Oh, okay, yeah. So your services um, or title searching in general are useful in different ways, whether you're lending on the property or if you're the one who's actually the purchaser of the property.
Yes, and then just people who are another application are lawyers. Sometimes they'll want this for due diligence. They'll have a project where they are looking at various litigation. Whether or not it makes sense to move uh, ahead based on an asset lien search, which we also do. Assets being like, well, in the public records would be real estate, and then liens at the recorder of deeds and at the circuit court, judgments, that type of thing. So, and then sometimes asset managers, they'll have a large portfolio of properties, and sometimes annually, sometimes less, maybe a couple times a year, they will do a title search just to ensure that there's nothing new that they're not aware of, to make sure that their portfolio is as it should be or how they would like it to be. There haven't been any unusual things like liens filed or new conditions, anything like that.
Oh, great. Um, for people that aren't too familiar with title searches um or real estate in general, do you mind going over some of the encumbrances that some of your searches might come across?
Sure. Well, a federal tax lien is when somebody owes money to the federal government for their taxes, and then the government will typically either in the circuit court or usually in the recorder of deeds office record a lien against the property. The same thing with state tax liens, usually in the recorder of deeds. Other things are like, they have easements. Sometimes when you buy a property, there's an easement that lets someone, access your land in a limited way. Um, there are various types of encroachments. If you live near the water, sometimes there are some like water easements. There are, I'm trying to think of some of the other more common liens. If someone has an assessment lien, it's recorded an assessment by usually a homeowners association. They would have, if the people don't pay their homeowners association tax, there's that type of lien. Um, we're able to get the copy of of a plat map, so if you wanted to see the original subdivision plat map, sometimes people want that. But in terms of other liens, those are the main ones. Often with a subdivision, there are conditions and restrictions to the subdivision, which in a full search, we would go through that. um, if you needed that kind of detailed information. It's mainly the tax liens and judgment liens, judgments by a court, usually the county court, the most common liens that we would find.
Okay, great. Thanks for the insight into that. Are there any frequently asked questions that you've come across from new investors that you may not necessarily have had the time you like to touch on?
Um, the main reason is they would ask, why do I need to do a title search? And I have gone over that, but it's a pre-screening tool, to be, to have the actionable insights, to have knowledge of what, the asset and the liens against it are before you can make an offer. Uh, Other than that, I can't think of any other main question.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate your time. It looks like nobody in attendance at the moment has any questions, but this is recorded and this will be provided to anybody who registered. And if you're watching this in the future and if you have any questions for Jess that weren't answered on today's presentation, you can reach him at the contact information at the bottom of the screen, his website, Title Search Direct, or the number or email address on the screen as well. I would like to thank anybody who attended today, and I want to thank you again, Jess, for your time and your information.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, actually, before we cut off, we're going to leave time for one question. We do have one quick question coming in from Igor, and then we'll wrap it up. Is this typically a service to be used for auction properties?
Sometimes investors do that. I've had a couple that came in the last few days where the it was a they wanted to know about the current owner, but there was a recent foreclosure judgment, and then on the docket sheet at the court, it had the date and what website to go to for the auction. So I assume that's what they wanted it for.
Okay, great. Thanks for the question and thanks for the last minute question and thanks for the answer, Jess.
Sure.
If any other questions, please direct them but to the contact information below. And if you have any questions about self-directed IRAs, you're always welcome to shoot me an email, give us a call. We're more than happy to help over here. And one more thanks to everybody in attendance and to you, Jess. And I hope you all have a great
Thank,
rest of your day.
thank you. Have a good day.